Most games ask you to be the hero. Slay the boss, save the world, get the loot. Noobs Are Coming flips that on its head and hands you the throne. You're not the adventurer. You're not the chosen one. You're the final boss. This is a wave-based arena roguelike that wears its inspiration proudly. Brotato, The Binding of Isaac, a little bit of Vampire Survivors, sure, but it doesn't copy any of them. Instead, it runs with the concept of power fantasy and builds something surprisingly fresh, fast-paced, and full of ridiculous ideas that actually work. At its core, it's 20 to 30-minute runs of pure carnage. But what you do in those runs, that's where the game really takes off. From the moment you boot it up, you're picking from an entire cast of over-the-top boss characters. These aren't just skins, each one brings their own weird vibe and unique playstyle. Giant Worm slithers through enemies like a wrecking ball. Spider Queen, think webs, minions, and wide area control. Succubus seduces enemies, controls crowds, turns the battlefield into chaos. Every boss feels distinct, and you build around their identity in ways that actually affect how you play, not just how you look. Then the chaos starts. Waves of noobs start pouring in. They're dumb, relentless, and absolutely hilarious. They're not just cannon fodder. Each wave has different behavior patterns, goofy dialogue, and jokes baked in. The game doesn't take itself seriously, and that works in its favor. One minute you're fighting knights, the next it's RPG parody classes, and suddenly there's a wave of angry sheep. You never really know what's coming next, and that keeps you locked in. Now here's where things go from fun to unhinged, the build system. This is where Noobs Are Coming quietly shows its depth. You're not just equipping weapons, you're taking boss mechanics, actual boss attack patterns, and fusing them together. Want to swing a physics-based spikeball chain across the room while simultaneously dropping turrets and summoning minions that kick soccer balls at enemies? Go for it. Want to water your own plant army into existence mid-wave while turning enemies into golden sheep and mining for ore at the same time? That's possible, and it works. The synergy potential here is wild. Everything stacks, interacts, and spirals into madness if you let it. The game throws stats at you, size, amount, cooldown, and lets you absolutely break them. Push amount and you're spamming the screen with projectiles. Push size and your wrecking ball might literally knock enemies off screen. There's even a cheater item that lets you bypass the usual limit on unique items and stack them for over-the-top builds. And yes, it knows it's ridiculous. It leans into it. But what keeps you coming back is the variety. Between runs, you're unlocking new bosses, new items, new synergies. The more you play, the weirder it gets. And somehow, it still works. The art style is this strange but appealing mix of cute and edgy. It's got that energy of a game made by people who love games, who wanted to make something both fun to play and fun to laugh at. And they nailed it. The music? Total banger. Whether you're dodging a swarm of noobs or launching a room-clearing ult, the soundtrack backs the chaos in all the right ways. It's not just noise, it's part of the identity. And if you're a streamer, this thing is custom built for you. Twitch integration means your chat literally becomes the noobs. Their usernames show up in-game. They charge you, taunt you, die horribly. It's a perfect blend of gameplay and viewer engagement, and it's hilarious to see regulars in chat become part of the chaos. Multiplayer? It's here and it works. 4-player local co-op or via Steam Remote Play. The second you add friends, the screen becomes a war zone. Powers overlap, summons stack, chaos doubles. It's not always clean, but it's always fun. One person kicks a wrecking ball across the map, someone else is watering plants, and suddenly a room full of golden statues explodes. You'll be laughing half the time and trying to survive the rest. What makes Noobs Are Coming so effective is that it doesn't waste your time. The pacing is tight, the upgrades come fast, the rewards are constant. You're always unlocking something, always building something wild, always feeling like the game is handing you tools to create mayhem. It knows exactly what it is, a game about being overpowered, silly, chaotic, and smart underneath the surface. There's also a ton of meta humor layered into it. RPG tropes get roasted, traditional hero's journey stuff is flipped, and even the in-game tutorials lean into parody. It walks a fine line between clever and stupid, but it somehow sticks the landing. In a world where so many indie roguelikes are blending together, Noobs Are Coming feels like it's having fun with the genre again. It gives you the sandbox, hands you a ridiculous set of toys, and tells you to go wild. No pressure, no story walls, just chaos, creativity, and that sweet rush of watching a screen full of enemies explode in 10 different directions. So if you're looking for something fast, weird, and endlessly replayable, something that doesn't hold your hand, doesn't slow you down, and definitely doesn't care about being balanced, this one's worth your time. Noobs are coming, and you're the boss.